And I'll let Mr. Milligan in now. That's it started. Mr. Milligan, that's you now in the meeting. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Milligan. It's Councillor John McNaughton here. I'm the convener of the board. I'm just going to pass to Douglas Campbell, who's a legal advisor to the board, and Douglas will outline the procedure that we'll be following. Douglas?
Okay.
Many thanks, convener. Just in terms of your application, Mr. Milligan, in fact, you've got two applications up today. The first one is for variation of your private hire car licence, PH0729. And in fact, the second application relates to the same licence as well, Mr. Milligan. In relation to, I'm going to suggest to the board that they hear your variation application first of all, could Mr. Milligan, because your application for variation seeks to vary the standard condition which requires your vehicle to be as a private hire car up to 7 years old and be removed from service on its 7th anniversary. Now, in relation to your vehicle, the 7th anniversary is on the 16th of March 2023.
Yes.
So let me just double check. Yeah, so that's correct. So 16th March 2023, which means it's now over 7 years old. In your application, you've asked for 6 months extra. I'm not sure if that means 6 months. I think it does. I think what you're asking for at the time was 6 months from the 7th anniversary, which would be to take it to the 16th September this year. Is that what you were basically asking for, Mr. Milligan?
It is, yes, exactly, yes.
Okay. In terms of the board's policy in these matters, although the board's policy is still that private hire cars be allowed to operate till their 7th anniversary, the board did earlier this year introduce a new temporary policy to allow vehicles an extra 2 years or up to an extra 2 years, but that was subject to certain regulatory requirements being made, and in particular that you would agree to have your vehicle tested every 3 months, and with the first of those tests normally taking place 28 days after the licence been varied. Now, I understand that you don't agree to those requirements, and it's on that basis you've been asked to come to the board today. So first of all, before you get into that detail, can I just confirm there are no preliminary points in terms of your invitation today or anything like that, and that you know why you're here? There's no kind of legal type points you want to raise?
No, I understand that
Okay.
the requirement.
On that basis, I'll pass you back to convener. I can say to members that there are no adverse comments in the application. It's purely a matter as to whether Mr. Milligan should be allowed an extension of time in his vehicle without any additional testing requirements set out in the regulatory scheme approved by the board last February.
Okay, thank you, Douglas. Mr. Milligan, you go ahead and address the board in support of your application.
Right, well, the vehicle itself has never failed a single MOT at 7 years old, and people comment on it every week that it's clean. They can't believe it's 7 years old. It looks 2 or 3. I've been in taxis that are 2 or 3 years old and are in far worse condition than mine. It's had 5 national MOTs and 6 Renfrewshire Council MOTs, and I plan to retire before the end of the summer. And that's why when I spoke to Gillian McIntosh, who I now believe is gone, she did ask, this is it, yeah, we're still granting it based on merit. And I applied for it in late January. It's now June, and I did email Ruth McCallum, and she said that, I said, well, what do I do then? It's going to be 7 years old on the 16th of March. She said, no, you can continue to continue to taxi beyond that date until we make a decision. So being 2.5 months into the 6 months that I've asked for, I'm not sure what else I can say. It's the vehicle's in excellent nick. I wear a shirt and tie on a night shift. All through the early months of the pandemic, I was the only one from my company who agreed to do a night shift. So I was doing 6 nights a week for I still do I'm doing less than 6 nights, but I still Still did about 4 or 5 months with very little help on the night shift. So I've been an asset to the company. So I would say that I probably deserve, I don't really deserve to have to take it through another MOT. The actual location or the premises for the MOT at the council in Underwood Road, the room's very unfriendly. It's the size of a prison cell. No, I've been in one, but you can hardly get a single bed in there. There's no window. I did ask Miss McIntosh probably a year, maybe slightly under a year ago, that it would benefit from a monitor, a camera and a monitor. I know it's not a normal MOT testing station, but I think sitting there for 50 minutes is very unnerving, and you don't know what news the guy's going to come in with when he appears. The fellow in March there, that was just 2.5 months ago, came in. There's no advice problems. You just filled in the form, handed me it over. So the vehicle's in great nick, and as I say, it's better looking. I could even send you a photograph if you want. But so I think since March, I've probably done about 4,500 miles. So for it to be due another one soon, I don't really think it should, and that's really my feelings.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Milligan. Just for clarity, can the officers just advise that clearly we have the MOT history and it appears to be a very well kept vehicle. It's due another MOT, it's just a normal MOT in July.
Yes.
When is the the council taxi test due for renewal?
But my annual one is usually October. That's when the plate is October 20. Well, I've still got the plate. It says 2022, so I haven't been given a 23 plate. So, but as October is the normal annual testing date, and of course, since its 5th birthday, I've had 2, of course. So usually March and October since 2022, I think.
Okay, thanks. Douglas, did you want to come in?
I did when Mr. Milligan referred to it being annual, but he did clarify that, yeah, there'll be one due. If Mr. Milligan's last test was in March, then obviously that would suggest that given they're biannually 6 monthly apart, then you would have thought September time probably would be next when it would be due under the normal testing regime, convener. But I suppose it's whether you want the consistency that other license has been given against the background that you've been told that Mr. Milligan does intend to retire shortly.
Yeah, I think that's important, Douglas, the circumstances in this case. Any questions for Mr. Milligan from members? I don't see any. My view is I think it's a unique set of circumstances and clearly a very well kept vehicle, and I'm comfortable to grant the 6 months extension on the vehicle, which so that would be an approval for the variation of the private hire operator's license in this case. Members agreed?
Agreed.
Can I just clarify that? So that would be the 6 months from the anniversary date. So that would take us to 16th September as set out, convener.
Yes, that's right, Douglas.
I'm not subject to additional tests, just the normal
Not
tests.
something, yes.
Thanks.
Clearly it's a well-kept vehicle, and I'm sorry, Mr. Milligan's retiring. Sounds like he's given and continues to give good service. Okay, so that takes us on to the second part of this item, which is 4B. Douglas?
Thanks. Mr. Milligan, obviously the board has granted your variation of your license. So if they grant your renewal, it'll just be obviously in the terms as varied. So it'll be on the basis that you can run your existing vehicle till the 16th September. Sorry, it'll be replacing the 16th September, because that'll be the anniversary. So the conditions will be on that basis, and it wouldn't be subject to obviously the 3 monthly testing, because the board hasn't imposed that. So are you happy that your license be renewed on that basis? And is there anything else you want to say about your renewal? I can confirm, of course, there are no adverse comments on your renewal application, so there aren't any other issues the board really requires to hear from you on.
Well, that would be fine, yes. No further MOTs because, as I explained there, it's not a very pleasant experience, and that would be my choice to retire, just run about. Well, perhaps even before that date, but certainly no further than September. Yeah, would be ideal.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Milligan. And do
Can
you have the
the
second?
board, sorry, can I just clarify, the board normally grants in terms of its policy a renewal for a period of 2 years. Obviously, I'll leave that for members.
Yeah, I was just going to cover that, Douglas. I would move that we grant the renewal of the private hire operator's licence as normal in this case. Members agreed?
Great.
That's agreed. Thank you, Douglas.
That's convener. Mr. Milligan, you've heard what's been said. I don't really think there's much to add on to confirm that in terms of your 2 applications, they've been granted, so you're allowed to run your current vehicle until it's another 6 months from the anniversary. So it needs to be removed by the 16th September. And in terms of your licence, that's been renewed for the normal 2-year period. And that's the matters concluded for you today, and you're free to leave the meeting.
Right. Okay. Will the license be sent in the post in the near future then? The second license?
Yeah. Obviously, you're entitled to work, Mr. Milligan, pending your renewal going through. We'll get the license out to you as soon as we can. We do have a lot of renewals. We are due to issue at the moment because a lot have gone through the system of late. But you are of course entitled to work on the basis we've set out in the meantime. And if there's any issue with that with insurance companies or whatever, we'll be happy to give you an email at your request.
Right. That's super. Thank you for your help then.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Mr. Milligan. You can leave the meeting now.
Okay. Goodbye now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, and if we can return then to item 3, TOA cabs, variation of taxi operators licence. Now,
I've sent her out the invitation again, but I think she's having difficulties, so we're just trying to make contact with her just now again.
okay, just give it a minute then.
I'm just going to try and invite her in by phone and see if that works.
That would be helpful, Donna, even if she can listen in on the phone, because we're just about to take a decision on the matter. Any progress, Donna?
Convener, I have Miss Donachie on the phone now. I'm just putting her on loudspeaker and we'll see how that works.
Okay, thank you. Hello. Hello, Miss Donachie. I hope you can hear us. We've given careful consideration to all the matters in this application, and we're ready to move to determination on this. I think I would just a couple of comments in terms of the application. We're dealing with this one application only and not reviewing the policy. Matters of concern or interest to the council or to the councillors, the scale of the advertising on and the size of the vehicle. However, given the history of this particular these particular vehicles, I'm content to move that we grant the variation in this instance. Are members agreed?
Agreed.
It's agreed. So Douglas.
Thanks, convener. Just to confirm the position, Ms Donachie, obviously this is an application for variation. The board have granted it. This only allows the advertising you've asked for in terms of license TX231. If you wanted to have other licenses, other license plates with similar advertising in the future, you would have to apply for variation for each of those licenses, which may or may not be granted. So it's not the green light to obviously advertise on other vehicles. It's simply for that plate. But with that said, that concludes the matter for today, Ms Donachie, and you're free to leave the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Douglas. The remaining items of business are
If you just confirm you heard all that, okay, Miss Donachie? Yeah. Thank you.
okay. Can we agree to exclude the press and public for the remaining items of business due to the nature of the business to be transacted?
Agreed.
Thank you. Can we stop the recording, please?
Yes, convener, just stopping it now.